I happen to be, since I got clean in 1984, I happen to be a collector of NA archives, NA literature, NA books, all kinds of stuff. And, Linda talked about a movement. Bo just talked about a couple different movements. And in Jimmy's big book that I have here, there's a letter from Penny Kennedy, who was the first woman to start the meeting in Northern California. It says, "God bless you in your courageous efforts in the NA movement. May they continue to bear such great fruit. It was good to meet you in 1952, which was pre-our Narcotics Anonymous, and an absolute necessity when we met again in 1962. May God love you and keep that serene spot within you forever." Now, I have letters between Penny and Jimmy in reference to, what it was like when they had only one person, two people in a meeting, and a third person came to the meeting. And there was a guy named George there, and they talked about the earliest beginnings outside of the Southern California area and the movement, because that's what it was. It wasn't really a dream-made program yet. The vision that Jimmy wanted to see NA go all around the world was far off in the horizons. And members like the people who shared this evening, like Bo, a constant member in that literature task to continue to produce everything that he could to get to where we're at today. And, Chris and Boyd talked before about wanting to talk about the scale of when the basic text hit and how the fellowship grew. And, when the basic text came out, the fellowship grew in leaps and bounds, when the basic text came out. Because I happen to have a lot of NA stuff, I find little gems that people probably never seen before. And this is a letter that Jimmy wrote to himself. It says, "For the first time in the entire history of man, the attic stands a chance. We never had this before, so let's make the most of it." He writes, "I tell you, it does something to you when you sit, as I do, at a meeting here on Friday night and look around the big table and see 30 or 40 clean addicts and realize this is probably the biggest numbers gathered together at one time anywhere in the world who are clean on the streets because they had found something now that they were looking for in drugs and seldom found." And this is the earliest beginnings of NA, and the people that God gave the strength and the support to move the pen on the paper. When we do recover in most of our meetings, you talk about a person that wrote that with a piece of paper and a pen, and I have it freehand written. It's just unbelievable. And that the magic of presence of God came along and worked with all these committees and all these people to produce the things that save our lives and make us have a meeting in print. Other than that, I got a whole bunch of stuff I could show you, but it's really not necessary. What we have is we have a basic text that we can purchase. We were talking earlier that this could be a fundraiser if anybody wanted to raise some funds. We don't expect you to sell your motorcycle or your washer and dryer, but if you have a couple extra dollars, the workforce at NA.Virtual.Outreach is down. That everybody was laid off, and there's a very limited amount of people that are able to keep working right now because the meetings aren't working with areas and regions and fund flows, and things just aren't going on. I just attended the first half of the virtual WSC as a representative of the greater New York region, and we don't know what the outcome is going to be. But the addicts are still sick and dying on the streets on a regular basis, and it must be terrible to be out there today. So if you feel like going to NA.org, if you look back there, that's what the link looks like. you click on that link and you could donate. You could donate $1, $50. You could donate $10 a month with reoccurring payments. And what'll happen is it'll help fund our fellowship, our program, our Narcotics Anonymous to continue on the vision that Jimmy and the World Service Conference had. You know, I said it earlier, I'd like to thank all the people who stood up and started all the meetings and are working diligently hours after hours to support early members and everybody on this committee.
Hey, John, can we get Boyd to talk for a second about how members were like responding in past events before you close it up?
I just want to thank all the people on the committee first. Then you just do whatever you want. I'd like to thank Chris and Boyd from North Carolina, Danny M. from Philadelphia, Shane and Caitlin from Lexington, Kentucky, Mark S. from Florida, Jimmy and Laura K. from New Jersey, Megan's from Louisiana, and Doug is from Oregon. These are the people who worked really hard tonight in the last couple of weeks to put this committee together and to put this on. So, you know, we don't want nothing from you, but if you want to just help another person, that's what we expect of you. You know, practice our principles, please.
So I'm Boyd, I'm an addict. And I just want to wrap this up by saying that, you know, one of the wonderful things that Chris and I get to experience when we do these presentations is we ask you, the audience, to share with us, if you would, you know, what the basic text meant to you. And if you go to www.basictexthistory.com, there's a way to be able to share that's being shown right here, okay? And we would love to be able to hear from you about, you know, what the basic text meant to you, and or means to you, or meant to you when you first saw it and experienced it. So other than that, I just, you know, this has been a wonderful experience for both Chris and I tonight. We really enjoyed, I mean, working with everybody here on the committee. You know, a shout out to Jimmy K for actually thinking about this and putting it together. And thank you guys.
Hey, listen, I want to say one more thing. Am I live still?
Yeah, just wrap it on up, Johnny. You take us out from here.
Say congratulations to Chris for 30 this past week. Chris, person presenter.
Congratulations, Chris. 30 years, X-rated.
That's it. Congrats, Chris.
Thanks for leading the way, guys.
Prayer.
Keep coming back, Chris.
Let's just have a closing prayer. Moment of silence for the still sick and suffering.